Hello, I'm Miss Pam. I'm a first grade STEM teacher at Winthrop STEM Elementary School in New London, Connecticut, and I'd like to show families some of the things that you can do to help your child learn at home. One of the things that we have on our shelf for Fun Friday, for winning points, we have a lot of games, and we have a game day. We have building sets and games, and these are ways that you can help your child learn. Chutes and Ladders is an awesome game for first grade age children because it goes up to 100 and it has sequence numbers in a series of steps that kind of zigzag back and forth, so the child really needs to attend to the next number, the number before, the number after, and besides that, they learn turn taking, they learn good sportsmanship, all of the things that make for a cooperative learner when they're in their math time. Place value is a really important skill for first grade. Learning about tens and ones, a simple game like Chutes and Ladders is an awesome way to learn place value. Checkers is a really great game of strategy. When children learn to set up the pieces, to tend to details like whether the crown is on top or on the bottom, to take turns, to try to think ahead. Like, what could I do to make sure that I don't get captured? Or what can I do to make sure that my next move puts me in a position to capture? Those kinds of strategies help in mathematical thinking, because when they have multi-step problems to solve, they need to think like that. And I think checkers is a game that really opens up the brain to that kind of thinking. Counting games with materials you have around your house, whether it be plastic dinosaurs, hair clips, spoons and forks, anything that you have, any little objects that you have for your child in their toy collection, your household collection, can help with addition. Use your flashcards. We provide those for you, or you can buy them. Have kids set up sets, count on. Teach them various strategies to learn their basic math facts of addition and subtraction. The game of gin is a really great starting game for kids. Cards. Whatever game you know in playing cards is really beneficial. They're matching numbers. They're, first of all, when they're in kindergarten and first, just learning the numbers, learning the amounts. And then as they move toward this stage of first grade, mid-year, end of the year, they can learn to count the points. You can teach them very simply that the numbers from 2 up to 10 are 5 points. Well, actually 10, Jack, Queen, King, is 10 points. They can learn to count by tens. Then they learn that the ace is 15 points, so they learn how to use that extra 5 in the place value to add points, keep score, compete with each other in a healthy way, but it's very mathematical. Play card games with your child. Building sets. I can't say enough about learning to play through blocks, Legos, K'NAX, Lincoln Logs. Any set that you have is mathematical thinking. They're using shapes. They're figuring out how to balance things. You can talk to them about things like corners, vertexes, sides, the names of the shapes, 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional, all the words that you use when you play with your child. But you know what? If they play on their own with their friends, I can guarantee you, kids that play with blocks are going to be more advanced in their mathematical thinking.
He's like stuck so.
There are many pieces of children's literature that have math stories. It can be about counting, like 10 black dots or 10 red apples. There's many on measuring. There's some on making graphs. All kinds of things. The one that you see here is on telling time. Telling time is a difficult concept for first graders, but with play, with reading, eventually they'll learn to count by 5s. They'll learn that when the minute hand is straight up, it's an o'clock, and halfway down is a 30-minute past the hour. So give your kid experiences with lots of different kinds of books. Read to them. Let them read themselves. It's a great time of year, mid-year, first grade, where they can read themselves and they really enjoy the concepts in math books. Game of Topple is a great counting game. They can use a dice with it. It's balance, which is a science concept, but using the dice for counting, recognizing sets of objects, dice games are really awesome. Then I usually move into addition so that they have to take 2 dice, add them together, and then count that many out. And then when they get them all filled up with the game of Topple, I have them take away. So they roll the dice and then they subtract from what's on the board. Give your child experiences with measuring. Measuring is a wonderful way to have kids think about whether things fit. It's geometry, it's numbers, it's counting, it's adding on, it's number line. There's so many strategies that they can use in other types of problem solving and just basic facts.
I think it's 3.
Balance scales. If you have a scale at home, whether it's just to weigh yourself, have your child compare numbers. Maybe you're measuring a suitcase for traveling and you know you can't go over 50 pounds. Have your child engage in that experience. Right now, you can use beads to see how many balances with how many. And then tape measures. I would recommend that every family has a couple of tape measures on hand. Give your kid that on a rainy day. Give your kid that in the car. Anything you can do in those little spare moments where you just think there's nothing to do. Maybe you want them to be off the iPad because you want them to have a little free time other than looking at a screen. You can use a tape measure or a ruler. Fractions are first grade math. If you're cooking something or you order a pizza, talk about cutting it in halves, 1/2, 1 piece out of 2, or cut it into thirds, and talk about those mathematical fraction words. You can write them on paper, have your child use a dry erase board, show them how fractions are written, talk about the bottom, the denominator, is how many pieces it's cut into, talk about 1 part or 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts being equal to half. Let your child have a chance to play with Play-Doh, cutting things in half, cutting things into fourths. Help your child learn the hands on the clock, the face of the clock, digital clocks. Recognizing numbers is the earliest concept, but then they can start to learn that counting by 5s is minutes on a clock if they're using a digital clock. And you can teach them on the hour, on the half hour. It's a difficult concept, but give your kid experience with watches and clocks. Please use flashcards with your child. Once they get really automatic with their basic facts, you're going to find that homework is easier, their problem-solving ability to do multi-step problems is much easier. They can use the number line, they can use flashcards, they can learn that take the greater number and just count on a few more with your fingers. We all do that. And then once they learn things like doubles and doubles plus 1, they're going to be moving into multiplication and division with ease.